Of course. Here is your full hook, plus 2 chapters. Long, emotional plot, plain paragraphs, no headings. There are some nights you never want to remember. But fate makes sure you never forget them. Emma Rivera never expected her boring shift to turn into the moment that would change her life forever. A single mother just trying to survive each day, working too many hours for too little pay, she knew the world wasn't fair. Still, she believed in kindness, even when life hadn't been kind to her. But that night, when she found her cold, rude billionaire boss, James Carter, drunk and being dragged into trouble by the wrong people, she made a decision that most would have walked away from. She saved him. What she didn't expect was that he would. Remember, not just her face, but her sacrifice and her heart. Emma's hands were shaking as she pushed the mop across the shiny marble floor of the Carter Global Headquarters. Midnight shifts were always the hardest. Her bones ached, and her mind raced with worry about her 7-year-old son, Liam, home alone under the watch of a neighbor while she tried to earn just enough to keep the lights on. Her ex-husband had left without a backward glance, leaving her to raise their child alone, with no support, no apology. Every night she promised herself she wouldn't cry at work. And yet tonight her eyes stung. Rent was late again. Tomorrow she'd have to choose between groceries and the electricity bill. She inhaled deeply, fighting the tears. Suddenly, loud voices echoed through the lobby. "Let go of me," a male voice slurred. Emma turned. Her breath caught. James Carter, the billionaire CEO she worked under, was being dragged by 2 men toward the exit. He was barely conscious, head lolling, expensive suit disheveled. James was known for being distant, strict, and cold, a man who walked like the world owed him everything. But at that moment he looked strangely small. The men weren't security. One look at their eyes told Emma everything. Now, this wasn't help. This was something darker. "Stop!" she yelled before her fear could stop her. They paused, glaring at her. "Mind your business, lady," but Emma wasn't moving. "That's Mr. Carter, the CEO. Security will be here any second. You'll be on camera." She pointed up. "Leave him, now!" The men cursed under their breath, dropping James with a thud. They disappeared into the night before anyone else could arrive. Emma rushed to him. "Mr. Carter? Can you hear me?" She gently slapped his cheek. His eyes cracked open, glassy, unfocused. "Who are you?" "Emma," she whispered. "Your employee, and someone who isn't going to let you die on the sidewalk." She called a taxi, using her last money, and brought him home because the company car and office staff were long gone. She cleaned the blood on his lip. She put water by his bedside. She covered him with a blanket she could barely afford to own. Before leaving, she hesitated. James, the billionaire feared by everyone, looked broken, lonely. She closed the door quietly and prayed he'd be okay. Emma didn't expect a thank you. Billionaires never remembered people like her. Emma returned to work the next morning, exhausted and anxious. She prayed he didn't know it was her. She worried he'd fire her for seeing him like that. As she entered the office, whispers surrounded her. He's looking for the person who brought him home. He seems different today. He actually smiled. Emma tried to disappear into her work, head down, heart racing. Then a deep voice spoke right behind her. "Emma Rivera!" She froze, slowly. She turned. James Carter stood there, perfectly dressed, sharp, sober. But his eyes were softer than she'd ever seen. "You saved me," he said, his tone steady. "You protected me when I couldn't protect myself." Emma swallowed hard. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," he replied firmly. Anyone else would have walked away. She didn't know how to respond. Her hands shook slightly, but James noticed. "How much did the taxi cost?" he asked. "It doesn't matter," she whispered. "It matters to me," he said, stepping closer. "Because you matter." Emma blinked. No one ever said that to her. Not her ex-husband, not life itself. "I want you to have a better position," he continued. "No more night shifts, a raise, full benefits, and, if you're comfortable, I'd like to meet Liam." Her breath caught. "How do you—" You mentioned his name once when you were asking for an afternoon off, James said. I remember things, especially when they come from someone who cares. Emma's heart pounded. Was this real? James's voice softened. You saw me at my worst. You didn't judge me. You saved me. He hesitated, the mighty billionaire suddenly vulnerable. I don't want to pretend I don't remember. Emma felt tears rising. But this time, they weren't from fear or exhaustion. They were from hope. James took a careful step closer, lowering his voice. Let me return the kindness. Let me take care of you. The way no one else did, Emma exhaled shakily. For the first time in years, she felt like the world might finally give her a chance. And standing there under the bright office lights, a single mom who had been overlooked her entire life suddenly felt seen, not by luck, not by charity, but by a man she saved, who remembered her, and who wasn't letting her fade back into the shadows. Not anymore. If you'd like, I can continue this into more chapters, deepen their relationship, add dramatic twists, and create a full YouTube script with voiceover cues, music transitions, and emotional beats. Would you also like SEO package, video description, viral hashtags and tags, AI image prompts for scenes, thumbnail ideas, subtitle timing with dialogue? Just tell me, and I'll deliver everything in one perfect package for you.